Last night's episode of NXT was an eventful one for two reasons. We had the cage match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and Aleister Black, my bad, and the in-ring debuts of Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke of the Four Horsewomen of MMA. They, of course, took on Dakota Kai and Io Shirai. This, of course, would be I think this is Dakota Kai's last match on NXT TV before she tore her ACL a couple days later. So this will be the last time we see Dakota Kai in NXT or NXT UK, probably for about 8 to 9 months. The biggest story, though, coming out of this entire show is the fact that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, for one night at least, were on the same page and gave everybody who was a fan of DIY just a little taste of the good old days with these two. In between those two matches, we had Dominic Dijakovic, as they called him, Dijakovic, wrestle a jobber, and we had Heavy Machinery wrestle two jobbers. So, not much happening in the middle of the show tonight, but that's fine because this show was all about Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black, and Dakota Kai versus Io Shirai versus Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. Of course, in the tag team match to open the show, Dakota Kai took the brunt of the damage. Io Shirai does tag in, cleans house, and hits the Asai moonsault on, I believe it was Marina Shafir, for the 1-2-3. Not much here you can say. That it was just getting us familiar with Duke and Shafir, so they can start getting built up and start being shown off. So when they do eventually do the Four Horsewomen of MMA versus the Four Horsewomen of WWE, all four women for MMA have had their time in the sun, and it will be more of a spectacle for everybody. Dominic Dijakovic versus a jobber. I think his name was Aaron Mackey. People were calling him Little Mac in the chants. Before we get to that, they did this before, and I don't know what's up with the Full Sail crowd, but the entire time when Duke and Shafir were dominating Dakota Kai, everybody in the crowd is chanting Ronda's Shadow. Ronda's Shadow. Give these women the chance, man. I mean, you did it to Shayna Baszler back when she was facing Dakota Kai a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to be honest, Shayna Baszler is actually far superior to Ronda Rousey. Don't at me. It's the truth. And it's like, immediately you already throw these two off and saying, oh, Ronda's Shadow. They're in Ronda's Shadow, which honestly they're not. You want to say they're in Baszler's Shadow? Yes. They're not even on the same rosters, the same brands, the same things. Ronda Rousey's on the main roster, and they're down below in NXT. So how could they be in Ronda's shadow? It's not like they're sitting there doing Ronda's bidding and being a heel faction with her. Which is kind of funny that you have Ronda Rousey being this all big smiley baby face when her three of the Four Horsewomen of MMA are all heels. So it would surprise me that by the time this entire Four Horsewoman versus Four Horsewoman match happens next year at Survivor Series, that Ronda Rousey is turned heel, which she needs to. Back to Dominic Dijakovic versus a jobber. Not much you can say here. His big thing is going to be feast your eyes, where he just he does this thing where he puts his arms out, says feast your eyes, and then points to his eyes, and he just destroyed this guy. Not much else you can say there. Then you had Heavy Machinery, who are going to be having an NXT Tag Team title match next week, which kind of sucks that we have to see them being called up to WWE television, because that kind of spoils what's going to happen next week anyway. They faced off against two jobbers that didn't get names, unlike Dijakovic's opponent. They toy around with these two guys. Undisputed Era ends up coming out to the main stage. They do hit the compactor on one of these guys. 1-2, Dosovich picks the guy up. And then he picks both guys up, and they hit the compactor on both of these guys at the same time. 1, 2, 3, and Heavy Machinery wins. What are you going to do? Then we had the main event, which took up half of the show. This match started at 8:30-ish, and didn't get done until 8:55 or something. So they went 20-some minutes. This match started outside because Aleister Black, he's circling the ring on the outside. Looks to get in the ring, and Johnny Gargano pulls him out. And they start brawling all the way around the ring. Eventually, they do get into the ring, and Aleister Black starts tossing Johnny Gargano through. Like, he's trying to get him thrown into the cage, but he keeps stopping it. Eventually, he starts tossing him in, and Johnny Gargano's, he tosses, the way he tosses him, Johnny's head hits the back of the cage. Back of his head hits the cage, and it just looked absolutely brutal. You had a jumping, leaping powerbomb by Johnny Gargano off the cage, as Aleister Black was holding on. Definitely a brutal move there. You had the Gargano's escape on Aleister Black in this match. One great match. This was a great main event. And there was, like, I don't know what was with this cage, but it was definitely not a standard WWE cage. Of course, Full Sail's too small to have a cage hanging above them, because it would just be like half the match. Like all the other matches you would have seen, the superstars wouldn't have been able to use the top ropes or anything if they wanted to. So they had to assemble it. But the top of the cage had platform, platform parts. So like if you wanted to stand on top of it and do a dive off of, you would actually have the room to stand. It's just a weird looking cage. Definitely not the same cage they used for NXT TakeOver at the end when Samoa Joe took on Finn Balor. But yes, they had to assemble this cage on the fly, and of course they went to a commercial break while they were doing that. The big spot at the end, everyone knows what it was. Aleister Black is down, Johnny Gargano's climbing up, and it looks like Aleister Black's going to get out. When all of a sudden, Tommaso Ciampa runs down and slams the door in Aleister Black's face, gets in the ring, starts pounding on him. Now, Johnny Gargano could just drop down and win this match and be done. Be like, yeah, it's not my problem anymore, I won. He comes back in. Tommaso Ciampa backs off of Aleister Black. The whole crowd's chanting DIY as soon as Tommaso Ciampa gets into the ring. Not even before they do what they do, but as soon as they get in the ring, as soon as he gets in the ring, all you hear is DIY, DIY. Now, they get to the corners. They do the little setup and hit the meet in the middle, the old DIY move. Johnny Gargano's like, "What the hell did we just do?" Tommaso Ciampa, with a smile on his face, just backs out of the ring, starts golf clapping. Johnny Gargano pins Aleister Black 1, 2, 3, and for one night at least, excuse me, I'm learning the weather. But one night at least, DIY was on the same page. Now, we still have about 3-ish weeks left of NXT tapings, if I'm correct. So, the question will be, what do they do for the follow-up? We have 2. Yeah, we have 2 weeks left of NXT tapings, too. So, will there be a follow-up to this? What will Johnny Gargano or Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa and Aleister Black say? Because we do know that, yes, the automatic rematch clauses have been abolished, hopefully forever, on the main roster. And maybe after this set of tapings, it will be too, for NXT, because most of the time you don't see a rematch clause. But we will see Aleister Black versus Tommaso Ciampa at NXT TakeOver Phoenix at the end of the next month. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 2 weeks, and then, of course, the weeks following after that, which I think is like 3 weeks. As we get closer to NXT TakeOver Phoenix, what will be the follow-up, and how will this go? Will we have a DIY reunion, a mini DIY reunion that goes from here, or after Phoenix until right before the set, until the last set of tapings of NXT TakeOver New York or Brooklyn 5? So many questions left unanswered, and that is good sometimes, especially in NXT. When you have less questions left unanswered in NXT, then you're most likely going to get an answer, majority of the time. I mean, yeah, when Hideo Itami got attacked and they rid him off for injury, we didn't get an answer because just too much time. He was out for way too long. We got an answer for Aleister Black. So the question will be, is DIY back together, not forever, but at least temporarily, or was this only a one-night occurrence? Hopefully we'll find out next week. Next week is going to be that fatal four-way with Bianca Belair. Io Shirai was added as the 4th member of that. We have Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, Mia Yim, and the soon-to-be debuting on the main roster, Lacey Evans. So another match that's going to see us have somebody who doesn't need to be that gets somewhat spoiled, as we know Lacey Evans will not be winning that match. But that is going to be your NXT review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for everyone who's watched everything for this year so far. We only have 1 week left of NXT reviews. We will have an unscripted next week. This week we're going to be taking it off. Family's coming in, so we get to spend time with them. I will see you guys next Wednesday for that Fatal 4-Way, as well as the Tag Team Championship match for Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight versus the Undisputed Era, as they will be getting their Tag Team Championship opportunity. Should be a great show, as we will ring out the final episode of NXT of this year. Until then, my name is LaFrance. You guys have a happy Christmas, happy holidays, and I will see you guys next Wednesday for NXT.